Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Run. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. It's hot. It's hot in Texas. It's hot in my studio. The air condition has gone kaput. And you know what? We're still waiting for a call back for these people to come. So I have all kind of stuff blowing on me with the wind here. But you know what, man? The show must go on. We must continue doing what we do. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. E2247. Welcome to you, Michael Rudnin. Welcome aboard. Welcome to Lynn Halsey Taylor. Welcome aboard, Sister Jan. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard as well, Eric Hayes. Welcome aboard, ABQ Rudnin. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see if I need to get anybody else real quickly. Okay. Let's get busy. It's hot. That's all I'm going to say. If the I kind of try to run downstairs and cool off and come back upstairs, but it's hot. Egberto, how are you feeling today? I feel better than I did yesterday, and every day I feel a little bit better. I start back doing my exercises to take off some of that 15 pounds I gained in Washington, D.C. as I cared for my daughter. But you know what, man? I got to take that all back off and get back into shape. Egberto, how are you feeling? So every day gets better. Single topic for me today, according to Rudnin, he says, Democrats have a serious problem they have to address. Yes, you are correctamundo. New York Times, how one senator doomed the Democrats. I'm not going to read that one, Michael, because that is the actual article that I blogged at 2-something last night. And we're going to talk about that one. Second one, Business Insider. Joe Manchin, who is holding up crucial climate change initiatives in Biden's reconciliation bill, collects $500,000 a year from coal stocks dividends. Manchin also draws significant campaign funding from the energy industry. I heard that he's the senator that gets the most, as well as including $65,000 from Oil Jan Nixon's Lobbyist and Political Action Committee. He also attended a July fundraiser in Houston held by a number of Texas oil and gas titans who otherwise donate exclusively to Republicans. The corruption in D.C. affects the establishment core of the Democratic Party as well as the whole of the Republican Party, and it must be addressed as the underlying cause of our problems that it is if any real change of the people is to occur. And folks, Michael, what you're doing is important to point that out, right? We have to point out the corruption in our own party. Remember, when we were talking about stocks, right? Even Nancy Pelosi went ahead and said, well, we want to prevent Congress from doing insider trading. Why? If they're going to create regulations for corporations and they have stocks in particular corporations, they're going to do one of two things. Dump stocks if they are forced to write regulations that affect that corporation, or simply not write regulations that corporation needs to be a good corporate citizen. So either way, America loses by having a Congress that has active investments in the stock market. I don't believe in the stock market anyway, but that said, the corruption is all over. And when Nancy was exposed to that, Nancy said, well, we are a capitalist country and everybody has the right to have stocks. You know why? Because she is one of those multimillionaires with a whole lot of stocks as well. So it is time for us to have a refresh in Congress with a whole lot of young people, with a whole lot of grassroots that are yet to be corrupted by our corporatocracy that is sucking the blood out of the American people. So, Senor Rudnin, estás correcto. You're absolutely right. Second item from Rudnin says, our third item, the first one deferred, common dreams. Fury as Manchin tanks climate spending. Vernashi Prakash executive director of the youth-led Sunrise Movement, warned, "This is nothing short of a death sentence, or democracy is broken when one man who profits from the fossil fuel industry can defy the 81 million Americans who voted for Democrats to stop the climate crisis. It's clear appealing to corporate obstructionists doesn't work, and it will cost us a generation of voters. Climate change is a top issue for young people as they recognize their seniors aren't doing nearly enough." Look, I don't like Joe Manchin, right? But I think if we are to win, we can't blame solely Joe Manchin. We have to blame 50 Republicans, Joe Manchin, and Sinema. All of them alike have to be blamed. And when you're blaming all of them, then you open every single one of them for replacement. Because if we singularly look at Joe Manchin, what happens? Okay, when we're going to, in 2014, we're going after Joe Manchin. We're taking Joe Manchin out in 2014. Oh yeah, that's fine. But we still have 50 frauds calling themselves Republicans, and we also have 2 frauds that are still in the Democratic Party, being specifically Christine Sinema, as well as Joe Manchin. We need to get rid of Manchin, Sinema, and every single one of those Republicans who vote no for climate legislation to save the planet. Third item from Michael Rudnan, Fort specifically. Sheldon Senator Whitehouse offered a tweet storm about 10 good things that President Biden can do right now without congressional approval, just by executive action for betterment of people and planet. There's a lot in the Biden administration could do in climate change. 1, a robust social cost of carbon rule with broad reach. Require carbon capture for all major emitters. Stricter limits on co-pollutants from coal and gas-fired plants. Stronger emission controls on cars, light trucks, and heavy-duty vehicles. Put lower emissions front and center in procurement. 6, hunt methane leaks with new satellite technology and enforce it. Tell DOJ to evaluate tobacco-style climate litigation. DOJ won big. 8, dozens of smaller regulations across DOE, DOI, EPA, DOD, OMD. Thousands cuts. 9, call out corporations who block climate action in Congress. 10, use existing executive branch trade and tariff authority to establish a carbon border tariff on imports. Look, all of those are good things, but I want to talk about how that has to be done, in my humble opinion. You know what happened to folks who go into, let's say Chavez, or let's say Obama, or whoever, when they try to make substantive change? When you have a country with a plutocracy who owns a lot of the politicians, they have a way that they can rail you in. Let me give an example. I agree with all 10 of those things that the president can do right now. But what happens when he puts that out and all these guys start to immediately, bam, raise prices, and then they say it's because of the restrictions that Biden is putting on us right now, and they start doing all these things, and people who are stranded right now, they're going to say, oh my God, these things that Biden are doing. You know, a lot of people just think about their immediate belly right now. A lot of things that Biden is doing right now, it's going to hurt us, it's going to hurt us, it's going to hurt us. So we have to have a 2-pronged approach. We have to come down with the rules, and we have to make sure that we call out the corporations and let them know, as soon as they try to falsely raise prices, wage and price controls. We have to, look, we the people who elected the president, we the people have to protect we the people. And we have to ensure, one of the things that I always say, I want government as large as it needs to be to ensure that the few people who control corporations don't have the power to control us. Because what corporations have indoctrinated many people into believing is that somehow, the corporation, the private sector corporation cares more about you, is going to be more effective and efficient for you than we the people, than government. And then the way they get that effectuated is that government hires private corporations for many things, and then they fail at doing it. They hire them to create a good transport system. They fail at that, and then they say, we have a better way. We can go ahead and create all these types of toll roads and all these. The private sector is, or rather, corporations, uncontrolled or fraudulent entities that are there to simply rip you off. So again, Rodnin, I agree with all of that, but in doing so, we have to be careful because that can turn against you, and when it turns, it's going to be decades again before we can say this is what we can do, because the people would have already been indoctrinated. We have to have an army of progressives out there engaging and talking and calling out these corporations the way they need to be called out. When they do bad things, when they kill people, when they pay politicians like they pay the politicians in Austin to cause the death of Texans with the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act refusal, we have to call all of this out. What they're doing with grocery stores, we got to call it out. Sister Jan says, Brandon administration is complete wokeness and competence. It's amazing how all you guys talk with the same wordiology. A wordiology that shows that you are just a parrot repeating some words. My dear, beautiful Sister Jan, let me tell you something, Sister Jan. Try to have a mind of your own and think about that which will make things better for you and your family. Right now, you are a clear and present danger to yourself and your family. Lynn Halsey Taylor, how you doing, my dear, beautiful lady? Brandon belongs in a LTC facility for everyone's safety. Oh my God, I thought you were somebody who was gonna be talk and say something that was based on fact. Come on, Lynn. Come on. I think you really mean that as a response to Donald Trump. Erin Carl, thank you so kindly for that super chat. Erin Carl, thank you for, it says, it's almost like our politicians don't care about us while the Manchins and Pelosi's reap money they hardly have to lift a finger. Oh my God, you hit the nail on the head, Erin. And that is why I say, look, I am going to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to the Netroots Nation. And we're going to be talking to activists, politicians. So we'll have Ilhan Omar and all of them are going to be there. And I'm going to be dragging them on the side and I'm going to say, look, it is time, you guys have been quiet. Ilhan Omar, AOC, and all of you have been quiet. It is time actually now to stop the quietness. I know what you want to do is not overextend, overexpose yourself, because we are going to need to have people listening to us before the demonization, the new demonization starts again, right? I understand it, but it is time now. There's a lot of stuff that is starting to cauterize that we have to get in shape. Thank you, Erin Carr, for that wondrous super chat. Guys, follow Carl and help us get the message out. We clean all this stuff up and put it out there. Let's continue. Michael Rodnan says that the bot is back again. Just note, Jan's page hasn't had a post since 2020. Let's see, worth recapping just how much has fallen out since this has started. Universal. These are all the things that are no longer in the Democratic reconciliation bill after we passed a bipartisan bill. We should have never passed a bipartisan bill. We should have never done it. AOC said it. Ilhan Omar said it. Rashida Tlaib said it. Ayanna Pressley said it. All of them said, as soon as it's passed, the rest of the plan is dead. And by God, they were right. What's not there according to E2247? Universal PREC, child care, public housing, paid family leave, dental vision care for seniors, free community college, child tax credit, climate plans, and a lot of other stuff one can't even remember. He says he doesn't even remember. Eric Hayes says, it just rained. So cooling off, Egberto. Great. If it rained, I hope it touched my roof and cooled off the top. Because if I were to show you the temperature in my studio right now, it's at 90 degrees inside, in the house, in the studio. So I'm burning up, guys, but love you all, and we got to get this done. I'm so excited. I'm so excited in getting the message out that I don't even feel the heat right now. Okay, continuing, we have question, what is Newsom doing? Taking ads in Florida, trip to White House when Biden leaves, avoids questions on revocation of Gascon in LA, do letting criminals run over everything. He is positioning for president. Of course he's positioning for president. And you know what? A lot of people should be positioning themselves for president. I want a lot of the younger Democrats to come out of the woodworks and start showing a level of competence, because right now we have too many old people that are running the Democratic Party. Look at the top 3 people in there that's running the party right now. It's ridiculous. We need young blood to be in leadership. We need young blood to be out there putting the message out. That we are not doing effectively. That we're not doing the way we should. AVQ says, we need more progressives in power to push all the issues that promote the needs of the people and the planet. You're absolutely right, sir. People are shutting down because they are overwhelmed by so many crazy things. And that is our job. Our job is to make sure they don't shut down. Our job is to keep them focused. Our job is to say, look at the prize. Don't look at all the noise around you. When you hear the things that comes out of our friends like Lynn Halsey Taylor, Sister Jan, they are parrots of the right intent on getting you disillusioned. We invite them in because as we plant seeds, even some of them may realize, oh my God, I'm screwing myself. That is my expectation. That is my hope. That's why I open these doors to absolutely everybody. Everybody, because I love everybody, but not only that. The only way we're going to move forward as a country is if together we actually beat the plutocracy. You see, the plutocracy is the ones that keeping us fighting each other, the corporatocracy. They need us fighting against each other because, brothers and sisters, what you see out there is if we ever get together, we're going to say, how do we accept them making us indentured servants? How do we accept allowing them to make us antiseptic slaves? How do we allow them to reap the profits from all of our work? They raise the prices of gas presumably because there is a shortage. There ain't no shortage, and that's why they're running themselves all the way to the bank with stock buybacks. And these executives are getting big picture. I have a friend who works as an executive in the oil company, and she got kind of upset at me because I said, you see that big, humongous bonus that you're going to get? When you get that big bonus, remember that mother, that daughter, that father that has to go to work and has to pay $5 a gallon for gas, money that they don't have. And where is that money? You see that bonus that you can buy that mink coat with? You see that bonus that can take you to Europe? You see that bonus that can do all those things? That's her money. That is the money that you are taking from her that you didn't have to. You're taking it just because you could. Just because you could. If I could get the Lynn Halsey Taylors of the world, the Sister Jans of the world, the Eric Hayes of the world to understand the pilfering that occurs by these corporations, and you just take it. You take it. They affect your personal economy and you take it. It's great that we have people that are out there ready to make that change. All right, okay. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see what. Para ver. Testimony painted a troubled picture of a dying woman with pregnancy complications waiting in hospital hallway as doctors weigh risk of jail time against making best decision for their patient. It is an utter shame. It's an utter shame. Persons helping someone travel into a state with legal abortion may face legal liabilities if some lawmakers they're trying to create a police state. And not only a police state, they're trying to create a state where neighbor is against neighbor is against neighbor. We can't allow that. Hey, one of my chats went down. Got to see what happened there, but I need to try to get it back up. This one hasn't gone down yet. I hope. It seems like they've been having some chat problems, guys. I don't understand what has been going on. Anyway, continuing, we have now, if the chat goes down, we're going to miss it. Let's see. Maywood said, how is Ashley and your wife? Ashley is doing great. She gets tired very fast because, again, she's getting over the stroke still, and she still have that left side that is very damaged. But and then on top of that, the COVID made her that much more tired. But she's a trooper. She's getting back. And Laola and Linda is doing fine. Not Sheila, Linda. If Linda sees you put Sheila there, she'll say, oh, Sheila. Anyhow. E2247 says, today, 3 in 4 U.S. and say they lost faith in SCOTUS. Of course, SCOTUS is a fraud. It is a fraud. That's a record low. Why? Because these are not Supreme Court justices. These are political hacks. This week, Senate Judiciary Full Committee hearing reflected the grim reality of our moment in U.S. time. Yes, sir. Eric Hayes, they do it. They do it is the administration a policy decision that needs attention. Thanks for bringing that up, Rodney. All right, let's see what else we got here. Senate full judiciary. I read that already. Egberto, yep. Addressing corruption is a radical solution. Radical by definition that it is addressing the root of the problem. Yes, sir. Tank Murdoch. It's rather obvious Brandon doesn't know his own name. It's obvious that if you believe that, maybe you're the one who has psychological problems, my dear Tank Murdoch. Because if you can't see that this guy's fully collective, that means that you actually have a psychological problem. Think about it. Continuing with Peggy Lopez, who says, "Hi all, no more weekly visits from home nurse. Been this way since surgery in February. Still visit the doctor in Oroville, 65 miles away every 3 weeks. Finally on the mend." You know, if you have good roads like Texas, freeways, not. I can imagine your trip. All right, let's see. Eric A. says the Energy Secretary has EV and solar stocks, but said she had none. What a hypocritical people. Look, I don't know that. I bet she probably has it in mutual funds. Okay? And then that's like saying the same, right? Okay, Egberto, that refresh you just mentioned probably won't happen without term limits. I don't like term limits because term limits is it's an anti-democratic thing. I don't want term limits. I want an educated populace. I look at term limits as what is the real nanny state. Oh, they can make up their minds on their own, so we have to have term limits. No. If I have a good congressperson and a group of us like this person to perform, there should be no term limits. Hell, I don't even think there should be term limits for presidents as long as we have an educated populace that can say, I like what this person is doing for me. All right, let's see. Michael Rodden says, Egberto, I got that already. Let's see what else we got. Big government is corruption and always has been. Government is we the people. If government is corrupted, that means you are corrupted. You're not doing your job to monitor government. If you want to elect somebody and just go to sleep, then remember what I said on my website. Political involvement should be a requirement for citizenship. In other words, if you want good government, be a part of good government. Once we get, from Peggy Lopez, once we get the uncorrupted into power, we need to keep an eye out and switch them out as soon as there is an appearance of corruption. Now, that is the way that you don't need term limits, Rudnin. What Peggy Lopez just said is spot on. All right, Michael Rudnin says, Egberto, Republican strategy has been bald-faced obstructionism since 2010, and for most of the time has not been replaced. Conservatives don't recognize that their party isn't the same as it was a generation ago. I'm kind of surprised that so few Reagan conservatives have left the GOP. Let's see what else we got. Carbon capture is taking place now via fossil fuel companies. Look at Chevron, etc., and it still isn't proven technology, and you still vilify. I don't care about Chevron. They don't do anything unless they're forced to do it. I don't want the oil companies taking over the reclamation business. I don't want the oil companies taking over green energy. That is what they want. They want to pollute the air. They want to do all the pollution and all of that. And when it is time to clean it all up, they want to be the one making money from cleaning it up. So they make the money destroying the environment. And then, voila, we got to clean the environment up now. And then they make the money cleaning the environment. That is almost rewarding them for their future gains. That makes no sense. I think, in fact, oil companies should be forbidden from getting into green energy. I think oil companies should be forbidden from cleaning up the environment. I think they should be built and liquidated for the damage that they have caused society. Daniel Edo says, Sri Lanka has an ESG score of 98. They are currently revolting against climate tyranny. Wow. Climate tyranny. Climate tyranny. It's not enough that you can actually calculate immeasurably what we have done to the climate. That went for all of those that are listening to Daniel Ledo, that has lost Daniel Ledo just about any kind of scientific credibility possible. It just says that the mindset that he has is anathema. It's anathema to critical thinking. It's anathema to critical thinking. David Smith says, thank God Joe Manchin is staying strong. he is saving America. Yeah, I tell you what, you take a look at your bank account, and I can tell you what he's saving for you. He's screwing you. But again, you have to have the mindset to understand when you're being screwed. Come on, Tank Murdoch. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. All right, I'm continuing going down. I'm scrolling down. I'm scrolling down. I'm scrolling down. Hey, Bridge MCP says, yoo-hoo, to El Brother Carl for that super chat. It is very much appreciated. Where are the rest of our super chats? Let's get some more super chats in the house. Let me see. I got to fix the screen here because there's something wrong with the screen that I don't get. All right, bear with me, guys. Bear with me, guys. It's hot, and when it's hot, it's not. Sometimes the mind doesn't flow as the mind should flow. Okay, let's see. All right, guys. I think the bot may be still working. The message bot. Yvette Avery Herod says, "Good afternoon." Good afternoon, Yvette. Thank you so kindly for being here, my dear friend. I should say, my dear beautiful friend. AVQ says, Dave, the American Southwest will be the first to suffer the worst form from our failure to address global warming. It's not, you know what is funny about that, AVQ? 1 or 2 years before they run out of water. You know what is so funny? It's not only that they're not, well, we as a country have not taken climate change sufficiently smart. I remember when President Carter came out with sin fuels, right? There was a lot of stuff we were going to do with the environment. Just went through the roof. Because Reagan came. One of our dumbest presidents came into power. And he actually took the solar panels off of the White House. I don't speak like that on the radio, so I won't. All right, but here's what gets me about the Southwest. There is so much for us to do. It's not like the Southwest started to dry up yesterday. It's not like we didn't understand it was sort of a permanent thing because of climate change. We should have been investing in infrastructure. The government should, because, the private sector, they only do things after the government has successfully proven that it's working. The private sector does very little on its own. That's what a lot of people don't realize. All these technologies that you see that they preach about, when you saw Jeff Bezos went to space, we had done that years ago with technology that was 1/10 as good. And all he could muster was a suborbital flight. We went to the moon with core memory and a computer, many computers that combined does not amount to this telephone. But Jeff Bezos went suborbital, and the media went crazy, and everybody started talking about the private sector going to space. The private sector didn't do squat. I worked for NASA, okay, under Ford Aerospace, who was contracted to NASA and Lockheed and Planning Research Corporation. And I tell you something, that it is government spending and government investment that did it. What Bezos did, what's the other clown's name that wanted to buy Twitter? Okay, they don't know what they don't. These guys are parasites. They build on what we did. Continuing, I'm losing it. I'm hot. It's hot in here. At least it didn't reach 91 degrees yet, folks. I'm still at 90 degrees. Okay, what time is it? Oh, 31. I better go ahead and do my ask. So here we go.
Politics done right depends on you to keep doing what we do. What do? We make sure to keep, number one, the internet seeded with blogs and information to counter the right and to present what progressives represent for the benefit of us all to everybody so that it's not misread, misled by any other entity. We make sure and populate that internet with blogs, with videos, with all these sure that we are informed and to counter everything that you normally hear that are lying at the right. We also make sure to create articles in magazines, articles in newspapers all around the country to ensure, again, that our message gets out there. Last but not least, we also As you see it, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom, How to Make America Utopia, are two of the many books that I've written on these issues. So please support us in one of many ways. Numero uno, you can support us at PayPal, either one time or monthly. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can support us on Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. You can support us by becoming a part of our YouTube channel, going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, or you can support us in many other forms that you can find at politicsdoneright.com/support. Be sure to visit our store, politicsdoneright.com/store, and get our books at politicsdoneright.com/books.
All right, folks, I have all of that, all those links I just placed in there, but there's one more link that I need to add, and that is to our GoFundMe to send me to our, we are one of the few who made it on Radio Row at the largest progressive meeting of bloggers and activists and politicians. So all those guys that you see on MSNBC, CNN, the progressive candidates, and the progressive politicians, they're all going to be there, and we're going to be sort of talking to them, talking policy, all that kind of stuff. Here is the link, politicsdoneright.com/netroots. So please support our trip. We're about, I guess, 35% there or so. politicsdoneright.com/netroots. Several of you have contributed already. I really ask for more of you to both help us there and also help the program itself, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. Okay, let's get back into, I got a video to show, and I want to show it because I did it last night, and it's what Rudnan started with. Like I said, good minds think alike. I didn't queue it up, so I am pulling it out of the queue right this minute. Por favor, vamos a ver qué va a pasar. And here it is. I'm going to play this, and then we'll take it on the other side. Well, it is 1:47 a.m. And what shows up in my blog post, or what shows up in my feed? New York Times article, Manchin pulls plug on climate and tax talks, shrinking domestic plan. Once again, a Democrat named Machin decided to put a stake in the heart of Joe Biden's economic program for the average American citizen. Oh, the bill that gave money to the plutocracy, that gave money to those big builders, that gave money to the guys who are going to build infrastructure on your backs. Wasn't a problem giving them the money, but investing in human beings, investing in ensuring that the climate doesn't fry us all. But they don't care. They don't care. They'll be dead by the time we get up another 0.5 degrees. By the time all these hurricanes are coming with full force, they'll be long dead and gone. That is the height of selfishness. That is the height of evil. Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is no different than any one of the soulless Republican leaders out there. He has condemned the world. Condemned the world. We could have done so much. And using the I find it ironic, right? One of the excuses, here's the headline, first of all. I mean, it is just completely ridiculously amazing. Manchin pulls plug on climate and tax talks, shrinking domestic plan. The West Virginia Democrats' decision dealt a crushing blow to President Biden's domestic agenda, effectively ruling out action on anything beyond prescription drugs, healthcare subsidies. Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia, pulled the plug on Thursday on negotiations to salvage key pieces of President Biden's agenda, informing his party's leaders that he would not support funding for climate or energy programs or raising taxes on wealthy Americans and corporations. They're making a killing. The inflation rate that we have today, that increase in prices are going directly to line the pockets of these rich people. And Manchin said, not even that. Not even taking back some of that to take care of our climate. Not even taking care of some of that to take care of the things to put our kids through school, to ensure that we can invest in human beings. A decision by Manchin, a conservative-leaning Democrat whose opposition has effectively stalled Mr. Biden's economic package in the evenly divided Senate, dealt a devastating blow to his party's efforts to enact a broad social safety net, climate, and tax package. Well, I can't say I'm surprised, right? I knew he strings you along and he strings you along so that you don't have enough time to build up against him. That's why he's stringing them along and they never learn. The president never learns. The president thinks he can negotiate with the Republican leadership. The president thinks he can negotiate with Manchin and Sinema. You can't. What you can do is use your bully pulpit and start building up others, start building up the other senators that we need to get elected to get things done. You don't have to throw Manchin to the dogs so that he'll run to McConnell and say, "Hey, McConnell, you are now the speaker. You are now the majority leader." We don't have to go that far, but we can start working towards doing things right. We can start working towards letting those people whose votes we need in November understand that, hey, unless you vote, it only gets worse. What we want is to get better, and it's high time now for Biden to see that the moderate way is a disaster, not only for Americans but humanity at large, from the environment to people's health to the transfer of the people's monies to the parasites. The parasites being those capitalists who produce nothing but have all of us produce for them. We produce and they take the cut. We produce and they take most of it. That's where we're at, folks. Schumer said it was a gut punch. Why? It's not a gut punch. Stop playing with the American people. I tell you what, though. Look, where people always want to throw their hands up in the air and say we just don't matter, I'm saying now is the time to redouble your efforts and put the folks in there that's actually going to get something done. And we still have time. We still have time. There's still a lot of primaries out there. Stop voting for those who believe in some mythical center. Start voting full-fledged progressives wherever you can find them. Wherever you can find them. And get ready, folks, because soon we are going to have to exert our will, the national strike. You remember how during the pandemic, when the economy shut down, how the rich folks got scared and they really started to try to do things right? And now that it's back, the parasites, the psychopaths, they just can't get enough. They just can't stop taking. They can't do basic arithmetic. If they are growing at 7% and we are growing at 2% or less, it's unsustainable and they know it. So they don't mind taking it all. Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin. Folks. Joe Manchin. Okay, let me get back to all you guys. You guys have a lot of notion, but folks, don't forget, on all these videos, other than super chats, you can also do those thanks. If there's something that you like here with not only this video, but any one of the videos on YouTube, they have a new feature now where you can say thanks and say, you know what, I appreciate what you're doing. I know the work that you put in to do all this stuff. So please help us out here. Anyhow, let's continue. Vamos a continuar. Let's see. Carl Cox says, no price controls by Carter. I didn't know that I said price controls were by Carter. I said sin fuels were by Carter. If I had said price controls by Carter, I was completely wrong. I always knew it was Nixon who implemented price control. And we talked about that before, where we said, imagine it was a Republican who put on wage and price controls. All right, let's see what else we got here. We got Michael Runner says, Build Back Better got nerfed and we the people got screwed. Not to mention the environment. We live within nature's constraints and we are going to see severe repercussions. Yep. We are so small in the real world altogether. Hannah Banana, welcome to Politics Done Right. Even though I know where you're coming from, we will be planting seeds in your mind. We're just asking you to do one very important thing, Hannah Banana. Please think. Please use that thing that all of us have between those two ears. All right, let's see. Great Salt Lake dust storm lifts elite arsenic sulfites and sulfides into Utah and tourist nostrils. As result, stop wasting water. All right, let's see. Egberto, stock buybacks always takes place. Part of the lure of investing and having and creating our own retirements. Again, you bought into the fraud. Yes, a lot of people do well with stock retirement and so forth. But that's a very small percentage of Americans. Most Americans don't have enough to put into any retirement funds. They are living paycheck to paycheck. If $400 come about, they can't afford it. That's the problem. The news that you hear is the news that affect 20% of Americans. The 80% of Americans that aren't affected are the ones that we have to reach. Unfortunately, what Republicans have been very good at is getting to that 80% and making believe that they support that 80% as they take them to the cleaners. And Hayes, as an accountant, it amazes me that you have yet to figure out the fraud because you have allowed ideology to cloud your intelligence. I hope continuing to listen to Politics Done Right will solve that with the myriad of very, very enlightened people we have in the room right now. I hope it will play its part, and I know it will. I know that it will. Continuing, I'm trying to get through the stuff. If I don't get to you, you know why, but I try my best to get to everybody. All right, going down. Linda trying to type this in the bright sun. Maywood. All right. Egberto reminds of the line voting the least effective form of political engagement, but it is still a necessary one. Yep. Stanley Days says, I agree with you 100%. Not having term limits, voting out compromised by big money is the way to limit. I agree 100%. Let's see what else we got. Breach says, when did that happen, Eric? Let's see what else we got. Breach says, Brandon, Hillary, Hunter, all keywords for ignorance. They have nothing else to say, just keywords. You know something, man? And that's the thing. Keywords actually work till it stops working. And guess what's starting to happen? The keywords are starting not to work. Check out the race in Pennsylvania. Check out the race in Georgia. Check out the race in Missouri. As it turns out, it seems like we're going to gain more than the 2 seats in the Senate. And guess what else is starting to happen? The generic poll has gone positive for Democrats. You know why? Because we are starting to talk. And when I say Democrats, I'm talking progressives now. Progressives are doing their part. Jeru Colleen says, Joe Biden at his worst is still better than Trump was at his best. I didn't realize that Trump was ever at a best. Daniel Ledo says, notice how he focuses on the tyranny part and not the central point that ESG has resulted in a revolution. He does this because he hasn't gotten the approved talking points on it. I don't know what you're talking about, brother Daniel Ledo, because it doesn't make any sense. There's only one tyranny that has occurred in this country, and that is Donald Trump. Period. Punto y final. Not worth talking anymore about it. All right, let's see what else we talk. Let's see what else we got here. Bridge MCP says, Michael Rudnin, they're all the same person. All right, let's see. Lee Grant, hey all from Facebook jail. Lee, why you keep getting into Facebook jail? What have you been doing? You are so gentle when you're here on Politics Done Right, my right ring brother. What are you doing out there? Come on, man. We need you around, brother Grant. All right, continuing. Let's see what else we got here. Breed says, so Eric, he made a mistake. Heck, I thought it was Saturday until 15 minutes ago. Breach, is that true, Breach? All right. Eric Hayes says, Musk has SpaceX running circles around other space companies, and the government sees this as beneficial. Otherwise, they would have NASA doing everything. No, let me explain. The government still is coerced by the private sector. Remember what I said when I said at what point we need to have the private sector help the government, when there are things that we don't do all of the times. I worked for 3 contractors for NASA, okay? And all 3 of those contractors should only be considered middle persons. Why? Because they made a cut when they hired me. Lockheed, Ford Aerospace, Planning Research Corporation, they made a cut for hiring me to do the work for NASA. So there is a middleman put in there. There was no middleman necessary. NASA could have done it all along, because the core functions of NASA, guess who does it? NASA. I worked there, folks. I understand the concept. So here's the deal. But to keep the private sector happy and to keep the money coming into politicians' hands, that's why they do that. Now, here's the thing, and you just made my point, Eric. You said SpaceX is running circles around all the other space companies. True. And to think that the company that is running circles around all the rest private companies could only make a suborbital flight when we went to the moon and we went to Mars with computers that were less powerful than my cell phone speaks to what I'm speaking about. All the technologies that they are trying to reinvent now, that they impress the media with, I sit down and I go crazy. I pull out the hairs that I don't have. Because what they're doing is nothing special. They are doing what we've done before with lesser technology. Look it up. It's for all there to see. Look at the great things that we did, rotating space things right in orbit, not suborbital flights, but orbital flights. We did it. All of that was done already. All right, let's see if that cleans it up. Yeah, cleans it up. Okay. So, again, the private sector is great at marketing, but it's not as good at performing. Because everything that Bezos did was done already. Okay, let's continue. Michael Rudnin says, that's a private. Joe Manchin is a demonstration of the corruption in D.C. I agree. He has cold stocks, dividends lining his pockets, and would rather see the world burn and lose money rather than lose money and power. Democrats have to start treating Joe Manchin like an opposition Republican. Joe Biden could easily unleash the DOJ on political corruption. Let them sort it out. I agree. Manchin's yacht is paid for by coal. He is not for his state at all. Yeah, while his estate is getting polluted left and right, as they throw all that coal dust down the mountainside, right? Oh Lord. Whoa, Egberto sure hating on a lot of people today. No, I don't hate on people. I love on people. That's why I love having Lee Grant, Tank Murdoch, and all our right-wing folks out here. I mean, ask any one of my right-wingers here. I'm not going to let them get away with lying, but I'm still going to treat them with respect and love because that's who I am. And that didn't come from now. That has always been my modus operandi after I saw the light, after I decided to leave who I used to be, after I decided that our economic system was a fraud and we had to think and care about people. So please, Lee Grant, I would appreciate if you will take that back. Let people see that you have the honor to take it back. And say, actually, Egberto, now that you say that, I get it. You're right. Come on, Tank. Let me hear it. Or not Tank. Let me hear it, Lee Grant. All right. Cox says, Bridge MCP, $20. Thank you so kindly for 20, a new super chat from Bridge. He says, this is from Tank, Sister Jan, Hannah Banana, and that lot. Go Egberto and the PDR posse. I love you, girl. I love you. Thank you so kindly for being here and being a strong part of the PDR posse. Lee Grant says, Dutch farmers, freedom convoys to protest government's strict environmental rules. What would you prefer, on strict rules that kill? Alistair Waters made it in. Alistair, as you can see, I'm behind in the scroll. Thank you for being here, Alistair. Alistair, I got your tweet yesterday, and I think you were trying to tell me that I needed to make an on-air correction that said that police officer who was looking at his cell phone was actually communicating with his wife who got shot. Alistair, thank you for making sure we stay honest and we keep the truth out there. Alistair, welcome aboard. She made it. Bridge MCP talking to Lee Grant. Let's see what else we got to do here. Bridge MC, someone tell Tank the Yank on anything to say something that I think he can read your stuff, Bridge MCP. All right, let's see. Egg is triggered, said Anna Banana. I love your name, Hannah Banana. You know, I'm from what people like to call a banana republic from Panama, Central America. And I love banana. I tell you what, I love green bananas. Boil the green banana, mash it up, put some bacon in it. Oh, you would love that thing with a little bit of butter. Oh, girl, it's not fufu. It's our Panamanian fufu, but it's really, really good. All right. Anybody else is going to follow Bleach MCP with that super chat? Keep us funded, or go to our Netroots and provides us some support via Netroots. Lee Grant says, Egberto wants to plant seeds. I always plant seeds, sir. You know why? Because I have the team around, including you, Lee Grant. Lee Grant, come on. You know. Let's see. Hannah Banana said, government simply takes it taxes. Yeah, that's true. Government takes in taxes and does things, right? Build the roads, provide a lot of stuff, you know, for us as a collective. It's important, Hannah Banana. Government is only as bad as we allow it to be, and it's only as good as we force it to be. So let's start working together, Hannah Banana. Let's work together and make a good government. Instead of fighting each other, why don't we work to make a good government? Think about it. I have Hannah Banana. Let me tell you something. A lot of the right-wingers come and they want to attack me and they want to slice me up and all of that. I have no reason not to like you. And you really have no reason not to like me. All the things that I want is to benefit us all. But the plutocracy understands that if you start believing in yourself, if you start believing that you are worthy, if you start believing that you deserve, they're in trouble because they're parasites. They don't deserve what they have. You do. All right, so many things were blocked by either this admin or the states from being imported that it led to shortages. That's false. Again, that is false. Then more idiot. That is false information. Shortages. And folks, I'm going to repeat this even though I've said it many times. But when I have a right winger put in such a massive lie, that is something that must be repeated over and over again to replace that lie. Shortages were caused because American corporations stiffed American workers. American corporations said a Chinese worker, a Vietnamese worker, a Filipino worker will charge pennies on the dollar than an American worker. And therefore, I will offshore to build my products in China. I will build my products in the Philippines. I'll build my products elsewhere. But it gets deeper. So after I build my products over there, I stiff the Americans. I stiff the American worker by offshoring to these foreign lands. I start to build a product over there, so I create a supply chain. Every day, a ship full of containers that contain all the products that we build by foreign workers to bring into the United States from monies we denied to the American workers. After we bring those containers in, we said, but you know what? We can even we can even be more efficient. We can even take more money away. How do we do that? We create something called JITI, just in time inventory. And in creating JITI, what did we do? We said, we are not going to keep inventory because inventory standing there not sold cost us money. So we are going to create just-in-time inventory. So as that ship is in the middle of the ocean, we're using that small inventory to sell in Walmart, in Sears, and all these places. And when those products are starting to run out, that new ship that is in the middle of the Atlantic or the Pacific finally makes it to Long Beach, California, finally make it to Galveston, Texas, or Houston, Texas, finally make it to New Orleans, finally makes it to New York. It gets there now. And as those trucks go to the docks to move all those products to the locations where there's really no inventory, it works fine. Now, that works great if you don't have wars. It works great if you don't have pandemics. It works great if you don't have storms. But guess what? The same corporations that want that sort of a process, just-in-time inventory to work, are the same corporations that don't want to invest into stopping pandemics, don't want to invest into stopping wars. How do you stop wars? Make sure that the countries that would have been warring against each other are funded. How do you stop storms? Make sure that we have green technology to start mitigating the creation of massive storms. So the same companies that want just-in-time inventory don't do anything to mitigate pandemics, wars, or storms, or terrorism. They don't do anything to mitigate that. And then, when one or many of those things occur, it creates a supply chain problem. Who is at fault for the supply chain problem? The private sector, the people who created just-in-time inventory, offshoring, and the refusal to pay taxes to mitigate pandemics, wars, and climate change. It is so simple. And then they create lies to people who would believe the lies, like Mike Cisak, Hannah Banana, and others. They try to lie to these guys as they're screwing them. They lie to these guys. Come on, people. We can do better. We can stop the plutocracy from doing what they're doing to us, for making us rather less intelligent, which is what they do. Again, thank you so kindly, Bridge MCP, for that super chat. I just popped up in this other screen from that other screen. All right, let's see. Bridge MCP, let me ask you this. If you are for policies that tried in the past and failed miserably, why are you still saying you want them to progress? None of the policies I'm talking about have been tried. Come on now. Come on now. The things that we're talking about are not old policies. The things that we're talking about are things that will mitigate all the failures that the capitalist society has effected on the world. That's what we stand for. That is what we stand for. Okay, he has been removed. Okay, let's see. That police officer's lock screen still had a Punisher flag logo on it. But yeah, Michael, that may be true. But if this guy lost his wife in a shooting, I must be sympathetic to the brother. Nobody wants to lose a loved one. None of them. None of them. And I can imagine that while he was out there cowering as well, he probably wanted to do something to save his wife. Peggy Lopez says, House again passes bill to codify abortion rights in legislation. Senate moderates says infringes on religious freedom and votes in favor of protecting rights to cross state lines. I agree. Let's see. Lee Grant says no shortages of illegals crossing the southern border. They're not illegals. They're human beings. And guess what? We need them. We need them. Egberto, outsourcing and automation screwed the American worker. Manufacturing might come back to the U.S., but manufacturing jobs largely won't. Corporations will chase profits at any cost. That's why we need a bifurcated economy. Egberto, my new T-shirt has arrived. Need to go to the mailbox, which is 200 feet away. Ha ha ha. We'll take a picture, and you are going to be the star on Monday when I put your picture up with the new T-shirt. Hopefully mine will come soon. I've got the hat also. The hat that says politics done right, and I'm going to start wearing the hat on my bald head every so often. Anyway, folks, I got to get out of here. My name is, before I go, I need to ask you guys so kindly, please support our Support us on PayPal. If you're on YouTube, remember you can hit that thanks button and give us a thank you. You can also support us on PayPal by going to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. Provide whatever you can. But again, I need to get my trip funded to Pittsburgh, PA. Please support that. All of you will be. All of you are going to be thanked, and I'm going to bring you some special stuff from Philadelphia. I'm going to try to have some dedicated stuff for all of you guys, etc. So please, E224 says, I donate dollars and best wishes. I thank you so kindly, all of you that donate, including my dear brother E2247. Have a great weekend. I'll have a great weekend. I may go live this weekend to do some experiments. So if you guys see me pop up, don't worry if you don't come or not. I want to see how my what do you call it again? How the system is moving politics done right, because I think there's some throttling that's occurring, but we will mitigate that. Anyway, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.